There is a force of the universe that wise men have called resistance. And this force affects all of us and has affected me deeply in the past. And this video is intended to share how I've gotten through that and in service to you getting through your resistance, your internal struggles, your internal thoughts, beliefs, emotional patterns, distractions, and the terrible things that come into our lives that encourage us to not do the great things we're meant to do. And there's a couple ways of looking at this force, and it can either be the thing that makes us feel like victims and makes us feel broken and reminds us of all the reasons that we're not able to do the great things we're meant to do. Or we can see that this force is truly our greatest ally, and it is the most amazing, magical thing in the universe, because with greater clarity than anything I've ever experienced, this voice, this feeling of being resisted by this great emotional force of the universe, it lights the way home. It shows us what we're meant to do. It shows us what the great thing we're meant to do is. Because when we're doing the great thing we're meant to do, that's when resistance shows up. When we're not doing our greatness, when we're not living in our art, when we're not pursuing the amazing, magical things we're meant to create in this world, we feel nothing. We can oftentimes drop so easily into that flow state because there's nothing being created. There's no greatness coming forth. There's no excellence. There's no evolution. There's no taking the generational karma. There's no grabbing the entropy of mankind and saying, no, we are not going this way. We are going this way. And I'm going to grab this chaos. I'm going to take this pain. I'm going to own this love I have for the great thing I'm meant to do. And I'm going to do absolutely anything and everything required to bring my greatness to the world. That's the essence that I've tapped into that's helped me do every great thing I've ever done. And that's the essence I invite everyone that I can into, is knowing that we must tap into that force. We must find that energy, that excellence, that beauty, that joy, that transcendental meaning to be a force of greatness in the world. We must find that power, that clarity, that joy, that thrill, that energetic uplifting that guides us into the great things we're meant to do, so that we can look that devil in the eye and we can look that resistance in the eye and say, thank you. Thank you for this stress. Thank you for this fear. Thank you for this temptation. You are showing me what I'm meant to do. This is the greatness that lives within our shadows. This is the greatness that lives within our shadows. The greatness that lives within our shadows is the fact that they reveal to us what we are meant to do right here and now. They center us into the knowing and the experiencing and the awakening of the highest character that we possess. We cannot find our greatness by basking in the sunlight. We can enjoy life. We can find greatness and reality by that, but we cannot find our true magnificence. We cannot discover the power and the transcendental, heroic, and heroine quality within ourselves unless we are massively tested. And so we have these dojos in our lives. We have these challenging masters in our lives and these senseis that live inside of us and these gurus that live inside of us that will oftentimes whack us with a really big stick in order to reveal the pain required for us to say, okay, no more. No more of this. No more of this suffering and this struggling and this internal battling. I am going to do the great thing I meant to do. I am going to commit to my excellence. I am here to be fully vested in this mission. I'm here to be fully involved. I'm here to go all in on everything that I am. And I'm here to discover that loving, peaceful place inside of me. That's what I'm here to do. And in the past, I've not been good at that on many levels. And there's a real awakening in my life recently where I'm finding the ability to keep that fire that's allowed me to go forward in the future and do things that I admire and do things that I respect and do things that I genuinely enjoy, and not be in an overly stressed or red zone state about it. I'm very easy for me just to stomp the gas pedal down, and we're just going to power through every challenge and just motor through everything and live in a potentially unsustainable way doing that. So the lessons in my life that have shown up most powerfully lately is how to tap into that deep wisdom and how to tap into that deep peace while still allowing that power to be present. And to me, that's the transition I'm really going through, is from that real warrior mindset into that more kingly mindset where there's calmness, where there's peace, where there's the essence of deliberate flow and grace and that powerful benevolence and that great joy and that authority and that essence of greatness that's shining forth. And there's that centered long-term resolve where we know that I know that I'm doing things that I can do long-term and keeping that marathon in mind. So I invite everyone listening to this and watching this to feel into the long-term essence of what you're creating and lean into the depth and lean into the power that is waiting for all of us inside of our shadows and inside of our great dream. And when we really lean into that, when we really find the way to tap all the way into who and what we really are, everything changes. And it's a daily task for me. I don't want to say that it's a struggle and put more attention on myself than is necessary, but the great leaders that I know, they all feel deep pain. They're all deeply artists. And great artists are sensitive souls. Great artists feel a lot of challenge and difficulty and stress and anxiety. And oftentimes they're full of doubt and full of fear. And they don't know what to do. And there's a lot of times where I don't know what to do. And there's those agonizing moments of staring at the canvas of reality and waiting and wishing and thinking and feeling and being committed to bringing that great thing to life and staring out there at the void and praying to the muse and praying to the creator and praying to this benevolent, divine, feminine energy that I know exists and that I've seen and witnessed, and praying for that to come to reality. And oftentimes that's what we have to do. And there's a really beautiful phrase around searching for inspiration, and that when we flip that and we rather know that inspiration is always searching for us, if we'll be consistent and diligent and disciplined and dedicated enough to show up to the desk every day, to show up to the yoga studio every day. And it's not hard. Doing the work isn't always quite so difficult. It's starting the work. We don't fear beginning things. We fear beginning things and being judged or looking small or looking like we're an amateur. And so many of us don't, and we stay living in these limited lives. But the ability to find the power and find that deep yearning inside of ourselves that says, no, I am doing this thing. I'm doing this thing now, and this is my moment, and I'm going for it. Because I know that there is this rush inside of me that is yearning to come out. And there is this motivating force inside of all of us. And the more that we can come into coherence with that, the greater a life that we can live. So if you know that greatness is inside of you, then I invite you to find that force more and more and more and invite it in. And, we sit at the helm of this massive cosmic supercomputer of our subconscious and connected into the superconscious. And we're deeply connected to these energies and to these huge fields of infinite knowledge. No matter what our spiritual beliefs are, we are connected to this ocean of reality, and we are able to allow it into our lives. But in my experience, it comes by invitation. It comes by us saying, please help me. I'm here to tap into you. Reach down to me and lift me up and guide me. I'm here to be at your service. I'm here to find more of this infinity. I'm here to discover this essence that I know wants to help me. And that's where there's a really important base groundwork for reality that we must implement in our lives. And it's been hugely beneficial for me because in the past, I didn't feel like there was a benevolent universe around me and a benevolent creator spirit or God around me. And it was lonely and it was scary and it was stressful. And it took time to really build up the experiences required to look back and say, yeah, there's something there. There's something really, really, really powerful there. And it's transcendental and it flows through everything. And it's been guiding me every step of the way, and it's guiding you every step of the way. And all we need to do is trust it and invite it in, and then it can do its magic. And it can guide the synchronicities. It can allow the right people in and out of our lives. And, there's a great quote that says that the successes of our lives are largely determined by how gracefully we allow the doors that close to stay closed, and how gratefully we can allow the doors that are open to stay open, and how enthusiastically can we walk through those open doors. Because, it's very tempting to try to pry those closing doors back open and say, why are you closing on me? What is the problem here? Tell me, talk to me, da 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 da. That's been difficult for me in the past. Maybe my ego doesn't want to be rejected, doesn't want to be judged, doesn't want to be abandoned. And the people that judge or abandon or reject me, they're not my people, and we're not meant to be for everyone. I am not for everyone. And there's been times in my life where I really try to be for everyone, and it doesn't work. And it's really difficult to let people go. It's really difficult for me to let people go because, I'm a sensitive person deep down, and I don't want to be abandoned. I don't want to be discarded. I don't want to be forgotten. And I know that it's okay to be that way. And there's people that I don't want in my life, and the people that don't feel me and don't desire my presence, that's okay. That is okay. And leaning into the faith of knowing that the right people are out there, and that if we do really commit to our truth, the greatness can really flow to us because we're tuning in to the ultimate level of the abundance that's really waiting for us, the abundance of relationships, of connections, of synchronicities. There is a divine plan waiting for all of us. And our calling is the scent to, out the back windows of the restaurant that's calling us into the adventure of going into this great calling that we're feeling. And we're meant to go on this mission. And I oftentimes don't know where it's going to go. Where AUREA has gotten to today, I did not see coming, a year and a half ago when we started this thing. And it's been amazing. Now we're doing retreats and masterminds and, major philanthropic partners and, hugely powerful, legitimately world-changing people are in our field. And that triggers all kinds of insecurities to feel worthy of being in their presence, and to feel tempted to fall back into toxic patterns and reject this greatness. And we all have that massively important moment of deciding, of getting into a state of mind, reminding ourselves of all the great things that we've been through that are required for us to be in that heightened state of reality and really feel who and what we really are and experience the greatness that's inside of ourselves. We have to get into a state of being where we are feeling our strength, where we are feeling our courage, where we are remembering all of those amazing moments deeply in our heart, where we know we did show up. We've all shown up. We've all done great things. And the more that we remind ourselves of our greatness is the more that we can step into the challenges and shine into the resistance and transmute the mud and the muck and the mire and the pain and the agony that surrounds us, that is saying that we're not worthy, we're not qualified, we're not capable, that we're lost in ego, or we're too damaged, or we're too broken. That resistant voice will say and do anything to keep us from fulfilling our destiny. And it will do everything required to wake up our greatness. It is our ally. It is calling us to awaken and achieve and create and express and step into the amazing powers that we have waiting to be activated. It is that splash of cold water. It is the cold plunge. It is all of the harsh teachers and the tough coaches and the challenging relationships that have mistreated us and that have shown us aspects of ourselves that we didn't want to look at, and shown us where we are suffering needlessly, or we're playing too small, or we're not allowing our greatness in, and or where are we attracting those people because we're expressing some of the toxic traits that they're showing to us? Where are we projecting our shadows onto other people? And for people that are on the spiritual path, that are on the creative, artistic path, it's one of the most common things that we often do, that I've done in the past, is projecting onto other people. And it's an unfortunate thing. And why we do it ultimately is confusing. And it's really a weird thing. Ultimately, I just think we don't want to feel that pain. We want to believe that we're a good person and absolve ourselves of the guilt. And or we want to torture ourselves with too much guilt, and we swing too far on each side of the pendulum when the magic happens in here. And that's like that Vesica Pisces, the overlapping circles. And there's massive power in the middle way, in the balance, in the centeredness. And that's where I've found the greatest gifts and blessings in my life, is by finding that centeredness. And with massive, painful gratitude to the people that have helped me polish my edges and go through those kind of like shaving experiences where the sides of my reality, where I've gone too far to the edges, have been stung and polished and scraped and bruised, to help me find that centered way and to awaken my awareness of the ways of being that are not effective. And in the past, I would really judge those sides of me really, really harshly. And in the present, I'm committed to transcending that and finding that centered path where there's massive, massive compassion and there's massively high standards of excellence. And it's hard to find those. It only comes through pain, in my experience. It only comes through challenge, only comes through adversity. And we have to allow for that. I have to allow for that and not fear the pain. We have to fall in love with it. And as we drop so wildly, recklessly in love with that pain, and allow ourselves to trust that on the other side of it is our greatness, then we can become, truly massively powerful forces of nature that are here to create enormous change in the world. And that is where the magic really happens for me, is in that embracing of the challenge. And that's where a lot of pain tolerance and a lot of will and a lot of desire, it must surface. And that's where all of us must dive so deeply into that, where we can feel that power radiating up through us, awakening up through us, and literally feeling the energy, feeling the shift in vibration. That is how we allow in the next level of our consciousness. Unless the energy changes, we cannot activate our receptivity to the fullness of our soul, the fullness of who we really are. It's the only way. That's the only way. And, if you're familiar with Joe Dispenza's work, then you know that he spends a tremendous amount of time in shifting the energy and getting to that place of nothingness, where there is no mind, there is no time, there is only the void. There's only the pure state of being where we can be so open to allow ourselves to drop in and allow that energy to flow through us. And we can hear the change in the tone of our voice when we feel ourselves fully filled up, when we feel ourselves fully receiving, when we know that there's a greater wholeness that's flowing through us, where we can feel and see and appreciate something so much bigger than ourselves. And it's so easy to feel like it's just us. And it's so easy to feel like we're trying to figure it all out with the consciousness that lives behind our face, when in reality, we must connect with a greater being outside of ourselves. That's how we reach the real power. That's how we come into agreement with our destiny. Because that desire, that ultimate plan, it lives in the receptivity of the fullness of who we are, outside of the trauma and the drama that lives stored in our body, the emotional residues that live stored in our bodies. And if you've read The Body Keeps the Score, you know about that. And if you haven't, I encourage you to check that out, because it's the feeling, it's our state of being, it's the resonant frequencies inside of our bodies that allow us to tune into the fullness of our soul. But when we are in anxiety and fear and pain and shame and guilt and anger and fear, that energy can't come through. It's not a vibrational match. It's not in harmony with us. Makes me yawn just thinking about it, relaxing into that. And that miraculous divine blessing of our pineal gland that resonates with those frequencies, that allows us to receive that energy into our beings, that doesn't work. It can't work unless we're in that vibrational harmony in this magical moment. We must attain to that frequency. We must raise the antennas of our beings and tap into that flow of energy and transcend all of the bullshit, all of the pain, all the lies, all the dramas, all the traumas, all the ineffective ways of being of the families that we come from, of the past that we've experienced, and feel ourselves radiating with the fullness of who we really are. And from that radiant energy, from that place of power and excellence and beauty and desire, and feeling all of the sunrises and feeling all of the powerful nature and the beautiful waters and the forests, and feeling this connection to the wondrous joy of life in this earthly human experience. That's how, in my experience, we allow ourselves, by being fully, joyfully, lovingly human in all of the depth of our humanity, can we feel ourselves reaching up into the higher realms and going up from the ego and transcending through that emotional resistance and getting into the heart space, getting into the soul resonance, and then attaining to the divine ground, as Stephen Pressfield and other amazing authors would call it, into the divine relationship, and being in that otherworldly experience. And you could call that 5D consciousness, you could call that New Earth consciousness, you could call that living in the golden age. And this new golden age that is arising through the great awakening rippling across the entire planet is that. It is us attaining to this higher state of consciousness and then creating amazing worlds and experiences around that and from that. And that's really how we do it. That's really, really, really how we do it, is getting into that place. And from that state of being, from that state of resonance, the ideas and the creativity and the nonprofits and the businesses and the music and the art and all of the amazing creativity that we desire to create, it will be produced by that energy. And it cannot happen any other way. We must get into that state of resonance and have these philosophical, logical underpinnings where we see how our consciousness is like an onion, and we see how there are these layers of reality and these layers of really other dimensions that we can tap into and then we can flow through and we can find our way up into the navigation, climbing Jacob's ladder, if you know that analogy, climbing up into these higher realms and being these messengers that shuttle back and forth many times a day and many times in our lifetimes, up and down and through and beyond and into the heights of consciousness. And in my experience, there are amazing beings that live in these other realms. And as someone that grew up Christian and still has a deep resonance with that Christ spirit and that Christ essence and energy, and someone who is always seeking to figure out more of what that is and allow the awareness of reality to really come into my field without fear of unconventional beliefs being purely demonic, which, I used to harshly judge these otherworldly, new agey things as being that way. Now I'm finding a more centered, balanced way where I can draw in that profound and powerful and resilient and thoroughly, completely resonant energy of what the Christ represented and what Yeshua appears to have represented is that wholeness and being fully aware of our power. And when we look at the seeds of reality in quantum physics and in the double slit experiments and in the magical synchronicities and the miraculous law of attraction moments, we can see that somehow, some way, we are affecting reality. And whether it's through tapping into other dimensions and timelines in this bizarre, crazy multiverse theory where we're literally just stepping onto an infinity of different timelines, and by the frequency at which we resonate, we are skipping onto them, which is why turning off the news is so important, and choosing our resonance very carefully, because we're being controlled in a movie, and the powers that be know how powerful we are and how much they're at risk if we would only awaken our power and come together with shared intentions and shared abilities, and allowing each of our activated hearts and minds and beings and bodies to be in full profound resonance with each other, and to allow that energy to propel our consciousness forward and to wake up more levels of courage to create greatness and to create new kingdoms that make these matrix artifacts completely fucking obsolete. That's the mission at the bottom of everything that we're doing. And we're coming together in some really amazing ways, creating really amazing healing centers and wholeness centers is really what they are. Because if we're healing is like quicksand to me, because we can always heal. We can always find more and deeper levels that need healing. And there is a place for that. And I've gotten a lot of benefit from tapping into those deep shadow work moments and resolving deep traumas. And in a way, they never really go away, in my experience. And in a way, what those healing moments do is remind my present state awareness how to tap into higher states of being, and how to remind myself of the place that I can resonate with, that is always whole, that is always complete, that is always in that eternally, infinitely powerful state of being. And that's our wholeness. That's when we're tapped into unity consciousness. And when we're in unity consciousness, when we're tapped into all that is, and the great force of creation, and the quality of emotional, energetic consciousness that exists, that's resonating around us, that's creating by its very presence in light and beauty and color and design and depth and artistry beyond description, and with love beyond description, then there is no healing to happen. We're simply in resonance with the magnificence of what we really are, and the magnificence of what existence here on earth really is. And as we can feel that energy literally flowing through us and resonating inside of us, empowering our layers of consciousness, powering the energy centers in our beings, aka our chakras, and feeling this massive, deep connection to self, feeling the massive, profound, creative energy inside of us, feeling the incredible confidence that radiates from this connection to who and what we really are, and the security that that is, and the creativity and the sexual power that we have to create worlds, literally create life. When we are in resonance with that artistry, and when we feel that confidence radiating from it. And we know, we feel, we believe that this is what we're meant to bring to life. This energy, this presence, this joy, this love, this excellence, this field of energy that radiates out through us and all around us. That's what we're meant to bring to life. That's how we really do life in the most profound and powerful ways. And when we're tapped into that, then we can really, really create. And that's my mission. That's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to serve as, is to help people really fucking create by tapping into that energy and by becoming aware of these universal dynamics that could defeat us, that could hold us back, and that do show up in really disastrous ways. But if we become aware of the game that we're playing, we become aware of the dynamics and how the ball flies through the air and where the goalposts are and what are the qualities of consciousness that we're seeking to create and allow to flow through us, then we can really cultivate the awakened state of being that we're really here to create. So I invite you into this reality with all my heart, all my soul, all my passion, all my love, and to really feel the greatness of who you fucking are.